It's running. First try. Just had a few fuel leaks on everything. We got the whole turbo kit hooked up. No revving though, just making sure it's all working. So all I gotta do now is just run this tank of fuel out, break in the motor some more and the clutch, but it's just gonna be sitting in the driveway for a few days, a week to do all the heat cycles to make sure the rings and cylinder walls don't glaze over, they actually break in correctly and all that. Just drive the car for like 100, 200 miles, break in the clutch. A lot of city driving. It's gonna be so much fun in this car with no AC, especially on 90-degree days and rain. Done 4 heat cycles on the engine. We're missing a bumper. And my window regulator is currently a piece of wood. I think it's driving today, at least around the neighborhood. So we got the old bastard out over here. This is a Rock Auto product. This cable that holds the window up keeps snapping out of its little holder. But hopefully this one doesn't just randomly rip out and the window slams down like it's done 3 times in a row already. And Rock Auto will not honor their warranty for this one, so they can go fuck themselves. Yeah, this one, it's got a certain name on the box that it doesn't matter what I do to this, they will replace it. So we got that going on. Window functions. Bled the clutch a little bit, it fixed nothing. Probably needs a pedal adjustment. There's a lot of dead space in the top. Sorry if it's a little loud right now. I did take the car out. Car drives like shit. Temperatures are good, pressures are good. It just goes super lean until I give it more than 10% gas, and then it's like, oh yeah, I got injectors. Other than that, so far so good. Not a beautiful day out here today. It's a little wet, a little rainy. We got about 250 miles on this thing now. Actually made the decision to go ahead and get a radium fuel rail and pressure regulator to bump the fuel pressure up to 58 because these are 4-bar injectors. Oh, hello. I didn't pull that out. A little bit of blow-by, probably. We're going to do a compression test. I usually have a bad track record of results, but this is just to check to make sure that the new rings are seated, and I'm going to go ahead and do an oil change if they are. So we got 1 at 180. Okay, 2 is at 240? What? Alright, so I redid 1. It was about 185, 190. This is 190. Number 2 was at 270, and then I checked a second time, 240. I don't know what the fuck's going on down there. Time to move on to 4. And number 4 is also about 190. So, what do we got? 185, 240, 190, 190. That does not make any fucking sense. Let me check this again. This wastegate is leaking. Obviously, there's a hole in the hood, and there was nothing blocking off this hole, so water filled this up. This I know is leaking. It has an issue. It's been sitting around for too long, and it's super cheap. My only guess is cylinder 2, the exhaust valves were open, and it had some water pouring into it because the spark plug tube is wet. After doing a compression test starting at 1, so it made this all wet in here. Turn the flash on. Yeah, see the wetness compared to the other cylinders. There's water in there. Okay, so that explains. I did do the compression test a 3rd time. It's 210. So I imagine all these cylinders are the same. Not good that that was filled with water. That would have been fun if I actually started the car without taking the spark plugs out. Yeah. Now, I don't really have any concerns because all the spark plugs look the same. Like this is cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3. Spark plug's clean, so we're on the right track. Even though the compression test wasn't the most even of things, I'm pretty sure cylinder 2 is fine. It just had some water in there raising the compression. I don't have all the sensors I'd like to have. I'm adding in a couple because I do have the S300 V3, so I might as well use some analog inputs real easy. So on top of, you know, getting the whole new fuel system, I put in a 150 PSI sensor. Don't ask why it's a 150. It's because the 150s work. I have the oil pressure gauge, but it's super weird in that it takes 12 volts through the sensor. And of course, a regular old pressure sensor is going to be a 5-volt sensor. So this one up here is for the gauge. This one right here is for the ECU, and this is all nice and tight. I can't move it. Screwed in as far as I can get it without stripping it. So there we go. There's our ECU. I didn't actually end up buying the actual plug for this, and I got no idea where my S300 box is, if it came with it. So I just had this in some electrical spares bin that I've had for a long time. Worked out great. Nice rainbow little thing. So this already got the fuel pressure hooked up. I got this is super shitty, but this was $17. So I just crimped it onto the 5-volt supply for the TPS and a dedicated sensor ground. So that's on analog pin 0, and the red one right here. Right here. That's going to be my analog 1. That's going to be for the oil pressure. And those really are the only 2 sensors that I don't already have from the stock harness. It just works. And we got redundant boost gauge and the redundant coolant gauge, or temperature gauge, coolant temperature gauge, and a redundant oil pressure gauge on the dash, as well as a redundant fuel pressure gauge on the fuel rail. Oh, it's another beautiful day in South Florida. Got new wheels and tires for the CL and an alignment, so I'm no longer running on bald ass tires. Still got to paint the car though. When I got on the Accord, then we got this fucking thing. Look at that shit. Oh my god. It's so blue and sparkly. What the hell is this? Where's the motor at? We got the motor right here. All the bearings on everything, on the head and the crank. No oil pressure was in this motor. It was running on completely collapsed lifters in the head. This thing sounded wild when it was running, but it needs a whole ass motor. We already got one coming. This means proud owner of a Miata. Yeah, it's got some issues. Something there. Yeah. Trunk needs some help too, but that's all right. Comes with this sick roll bar though. That'll definitely not make your head crush if this thing flipped over. Oh, did I mention it needs a soft top too? Just a little bit. But today is the day to turn this back into a roller. Subframe is going to have to get bolted back up. Transmission is going to have to be tied up somewhere, somehow. I can't believe I paid for this. But I'm curious. What else we got over here? Yo. That's the small one. 2022, bro. It's an expired condom. There you go. Go have a 4th kid, Jeff. That explains a lot. More body work. It's got someone's name on it. And that's all the paper that's in there. Very good.
The one car I said I did not want to have any fucking part of. It's the one car that's in my fucking garage right now. Thanks, Jordan.
You got a motor for this thing, or?
But I do got a way we could fix it. Just missing some lighters, baby. Yeah, you guys can't park there. Can't park there.